So Lykke Li kinda went trap. Lykke Li is a dream pop R&B softy singer songwriter who I caught up with in like 2014 when she dropped a I Never Learned album. I think that's a pretty solid album actually. I think there's some amazing songs on there. Love With Me, Like I'm Not Made of Stone. Gunshot is a great pop song. I just really like the atmosphere that she was able to conjure up with the dreamlike state of the album. Not every track was amazing, but it was a decent length, you know, what she was able to do was enjoyable, and it was kind of like a Lana Del Rey album done right, because I've never really been a Lana Del Rey fan, but I thought Lykke Li was the closest that we'd get to a great album in that sort of vein. And there have always been like R&B and even a little bit of hip-hop influence in her music. I know that one of her songs had A$AP Rocky on a remix version way back in like 2014. So, you know, obviously she's always had that influence in the music, but I never expected her to fully go forward in that sound. So Sad, So Sexy has really gone in that direction of like trap inspired cloudy sounds. Yeah, I don't really know what to make of this one. I wouldn't say it's outright bad, but I think all of her ventures into this sound don't really go over that well. I mean, the opening track just sounds like an FKA Twigs song, especially when that like auto-tune like crooning comes in. I'm just totally reminded of FKA Twigs, which makes me think, why the hell hasn't she dropped an album yet? It's been like 3 years since that EP, which was amazing. I thought she would have dropped something by now. This song kind of makes me feel like we need her back. I mean, she was able to make her music sexy without having so sexy in the title of her album. Like, it was just natural in her music. But Lykke Li I don't think is quite natural in this sound. I mean, vocally, I just think she sounds way different. Vocals are still solid. Not as dreamy as I'd like them to be at times. Very much R&B type stuff going on here. I don't know, I'm just reminded a little bit of like an artist like Tinashe, who just never really like fully developed her own sound or never really went in her own lane, and that's just exactly what Lykke Li sounds like. She just sounds like she's not developed this sound enough to make it anywhere unique. She brings on Aminé, the rapper that dropped his debut album last year, on one of the tracks. Doesn't really go over that well. I mean, you can't just throw in one random rap feature on your album. I feel like it's just so out of place. Like, of all rappers, you pick Aminé, who has this really fun, upbeat, peppy sound to his music, and you put him on this really bland instrumental. I just don't get it. She's just dipping her toes into this sound without really going the whole way. Like, even a lot of these tracks feel like she's trying to make this atmospheric, you know, like vibey type bedroom song, and there's just not enough there. I mean, her voice doesn't go all the way to the point where it feels like it's really sensual. It's, you know, like, I just feel like she's just failed everything she's tried. On the second track, there's literally trap beats on this one, man. I mean, Jesus Christ. The hi-hats are just there, and it just feels like really stale trap. I mean, I know I hate Playboi Carti, but he at least tries to do something different. This is just going onto GarageBand and clicking on the first trap beat you see, and then singing over it. Like, Jesus. This image that she's trying to present to us, I just don't buy into. I mean, bad woman, I just don't get it, man. Like, you know, you're a bad woman, but the person is still with you because they love you anyway. Like, you just don't have enough in your voice to sell us that you're this bad woman. I mean, you don't exactly give us much detail in telling us why you're this bad woman. You just kind of say it in a way that makes us believe it instantaneously. Nah, I'm not buying it. She went into so much detail in crafting her music on the last album, I Never Learn, and I believe that she was a troubled character, but on this album, I'm just not really given enough information to believe that she's this troubled person. I mean, what does she tell us? It feels like a fucking Tumblr post or something, like just really basic, just emotions being laid out, and we're supposed to buy into it because, oh well, she said it, so yeah, that must be it. That's all we need to hear. I know that sounds kind of harsh on her as a musician, but you know, I think if you're gonna go into a more like dirtier sound, like I'm not saying that this is a dirty sound, but like she's muddied things up since her last album, and I feel like she's done that for a reason, to put a point across, but I just don't think she sells it really with these lyrics across this album. Sex, money, feelings die. What? You're just saying things. What does that even amount to? It just, nah man, I'm just not buying into it. And then we have the closing track, Utopia. I don't really know what this is meant to do to round up the album. So she's gone through the album kind of telling us that she's just not fit to be in a relationship, or not really emotionally in the right place, and she messes things up and she's a bad woman. And then this last track, she says, you and me, we could be utopia. And it's like, no, that's not a thing. Utopia isn't a thing. How surface level can you get with your lyrics? I'm sorry, I know I'm not like in the right position to be judging her as a songwriter, but she's just done so much better than this. Like, utopia isn't a thing with a relationship. If you've ever been in a relationship, that doesn't exist. It's never gonna be perfect, and to write it into your song, it's just over romanticization. Romanticization. Ugh. And to top it off with all these really uninteresting instrumentals, I mean, her last album and her previous work was so ethereal and just dreamy and gorgeous in its sound, even if you weren't that grabbed by the lyrics, which I was, but like I could imagine you not really thinking the lyrics are that amazing in comparison to like a Julia Holter, but still the music was just absolutely sublime. And here, all the ethereal feelings you got from the last album just is gone, and I feel like such a big disappointment. It's a waste of talent. I don't know where Lykke Li decided to go with this one, but I think it's not quite hit the landing. I'm gonna go with D. I think it's really average, this album, unfortunately, but let me know your thoughts on So Sad So Sexy in the comments if I've been too harsh, if you completely agree. I know atheists agrees. Well, shout out to that guy, go check out his music by the way. But yeah, sorry for this negative review, but I've got to speak my mind, man. This is not really very good at all. Listen to I Never Learned, that's a great album. And yeah, subscribe to the channel for more reviews. Hope you like this one, and have a good day.